Welcome to Bastard Quest. I'm the Game Bastard Kyle.
I'm Todd.
Corey.
Austin.
Today we're playing Blades in the Dark, an RPG by John Harker from Evil Hat.
Doesn't sound safe.
Blades in the Dark, yeah.
John Harper, not Harker. John Harker is in Dracula.
If I know anything about blades, there's two rules.
Yeah.
Cut away from yourself.
Okay.
Turn on the lights.
Well, in this game, you take 30 knives and you throw them in a room and you turn the lights off, and it's called Grab the Knives.
Shit.
Oh, Kyle, why are you wearing armor?
Well, I'm glad you asked,
What's
Todd.
Johnny Knoxville doing here?
What's he doing with that boogie board?
No, this is a game about, what is this game about? It is a game of gangs and ne'er-do-wells in a dark, haunted Victorian city in a world that's been ruined by some terrible eldritch event in the past. It is always dark and everybody hates each other, and there's mushroom farms.
So it's Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio.
Yeah.
Like along Lake Erie where the sun never sets
Yeah.
because of the curse.
Yes.
So this is a Forged in the Dark system, which is inspired, I guess, by Powered by the Apocalypse. And you do play a gang of criminals trying to make their fortune in the underworld of this dark Victorian city. We will briefly review the rules.
So, as with any game, most of the mechanics come down to how you make action rolls in this game. Blades in the Dark, in particular, is very specific about how it creates kind of narrative cooperation between the players and the GM. Its rules lay out specifically which responsibility lies with either the player or the GM. And for the most part, things are as you would expect with making an action roll, with a couple of additions to add a little nuance. And this is pretty cool. So obviously a player states their goal for an action. The player chooses the action rating that they want to use in order to make that action. And an action rating is basically the attributes that we have. Rather than general attributes being ranked like Constitution or Strength or Intelligence, much like Powered by the Apocalypse, we kind of have our ability to perform specific actions already ranked. The only difference is there's a little bit of ambiguity with the action ratings themselves. So instead of something like attack or investigate, it's a little bit more vague. So it's something like attune, command, sway, hunt, skirmish, prowl, things like that.
Cut vegetables with your hand, like in your hand. Yeah.
So you as a player kind of get a little bit of a say in which one of these action ratings you can use to try and perform an action. So much like in Dune, when we pick a drive in order to have a little bit of say in the difficulty. So when you pick an action rating, the GM is going to set the position for the roll, and the position is how desperate of an action it is, or how difficult of an action it is. So you may range from an easy task, which gives you a big effect and maybe even bonus effects, to normal, which is just, you perform the action as normal. Most of the rolls are going to fall on the normal side. And then desperate, which is basically what would happen if, a lot of times you guys have heard Kyle kind of fudge the numbers for us a little bit in order to keep the game leaning in the player's favor. I might fail a lockpick roll, and Kyle might say something like, okay, you pick the lock, but your lockpicks break and you can no longer use them. Number one, that's just good GMing. But number two, that's kind of systemized in this game, where Kyle is able to more specifically say, yes, but, or yes, and.
Kyle says a lot of shit, though.
That's true. He
does.
That's true.
The GM also sets the effect level for the action, which is kind of an extension of that same idea. In addition to performing the action, maybe we get bonus effects attached to it, or maybe we get additional narrative details that we as players get to add.
Or no effects?
Yeah, or no effects at all.
Okay, I like them.
And for the actual action roll, you're just rolling a simple D6 dice pool. But there's a catch here. There's absolutely no addition in this game. There's no adding of any kind. It's awesome. We roll any kind of specific number of dice based on our action rating and whatever additional dice we want to add to the pool. But the only thing you really have to pay attention to is whatever the highest number is. So when you roll, you take the highest dice number, and if it's a 6, it's a critical success. If it's help me out, Kyle, if it's a 4 to 5, it's a
Partial success.
Partial success, meaning a success with probably a complication. If it's a 1 through 3, it's just a failure.
So very much like Powered by the Apocalypse.
Yes.
Yes.
See, man, we're experts now. Remember back in the day when we didn't know shit? Now it's like, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. I couldn't even count.
And then really everything else in the game is just a variation on that. There's other rolls like fortune rolls, resistance rolls to see how something manifests itself in the game, how to make a saving throw. But essentially everything revolves around that same mechanic.
And I've got a cane sword.
Yeah.
Should we talk about that?
We'll talk about our characters.
Oh,
You can talk about that all you want, Corey.
Okay.
We can also push ourselves for bonus dice or make a devil's bargain. We'll get more into that as we use them. But there are various ways to build your dice pool. But that's essentially it.
So my cane sword.
Yes, everyone has their character that they're very eager to talk about.
Yeah, we made a session 0. That's up on the Patreon right now. Thank you to our patrons.
Yeah, if you want to check that out, go to patreon.com/masterquest.
Character creation was a lot of fun. It was pretty in depth, but not in a awful like gauntlet type way. With some games like are fucking just brutal.
Yeah.
But this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but not only was this very elaborate, but it's also laid out very, very well. Evil Hat books are super cool, and I really like the Forged in the Dark mechanic of using playbooks to basically give you plenty of options to choose from, but kind of organizing them in a way that makes it very intuitive to build a character.
Yeah, and the books of Evil Hat double as an actual hat.
Yep, that is
They
weird,
do if you try hard enough.
Yep.
but they did it.
Everything's a hat when you're dumb.
I've
you're not
often
wrong.
I've often referred to hair as nature's hat.
Oh, shit. I think that's a t-shirt.
I've always called it the moss of the head.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Depending on which way you're pointing, like it could grow, you know.
Yeah,
That's right.
on the west side of your head.
Yeah.
It's there the moss is.
That's why I started balding.
No moss.
I looked down
So many
to-
handstands.
Yeah.
All right, before we talk about your individual characters, let's talk about your crew. Because one thing that Blades in the Dark does that not a lot of other games do is you have a sheet, in essence, a character sheet for your party, for your character party. It's your crew, it's your gang that operates in Duskfall. So, Todd, do you want to tell us about the crew?
So the name of our crew is
Yeah.
Killers of Fearsome Character,
It's a very specific word choice.
or KFC.
There we are.
Yeah.
Our reputation is strange.
Is it?
It is. And our lair is an aviary that's on top of a crumbling mansion, which we call the Coop.
Yeah.
Is it not the co-op?
We're not a farm store, Kyle,
I don't know.
although we do sell eggs on the side.
A farm store. Would you like some eggs?
And the Coop, our lair, is located, there's a map of the city, and it's located in Night Market Manor, which, if I remember correctly, is near the train tracks to the
Yes,
north.
it's near the Gedak rail station in the northeast section of the city.
Yeah, Night Market is the trade center for exotic goods imported by rail, which most freight is moved by rail in the Empire. And many vendors also trade in illicit goods because the city's all about the crime. So there's a crumbling manor house, one of many in Night Market, and you guys have your hideout on top of it.
Yeah. We like the idea of living close to the rails. We've probably got some stupid escape hatch that lets us escape out onto the rails.
Maybe.
We call the restroom the Famous Bowl.
God.
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Not far from what the actual famous bowl is. Oh, and should we mention that this city is full of ghosts?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of important. Yeah.
There's a lot going on. So the reason why it's full of ghosts is there was some sort of... This is a typical fantasy world that has moved into its industrial age, but some point in its pseudo-medieval history, there was an apocalypse. The bad guy won. Sauron won. Well, it obviously wasn't called Sauron, but... And the gates of death were shattered. And so now when anyone dies, their spirit does not go to the afterlife. It's stuck here. And ghosts are kind of a problem. So the entire city is ringed by lightning barriers, which destroy ghosts that hit them.
Which are powered by...
Demonic whale blood.
Got it.
So if someone dies in the city, there's a group, I think called the Spirit Wardens, that will go and destroy the ghost, the spirit, so that it doesn't rise as a ghost. If the body's hidden somewhere or they can't get to it for some reason, a ghost will emerge and haunt people. And this is an issue.
Yeah.
Do you know what the #1 TV show in this city is, Kyle?
I don't.
It's a prank show called Steampunked.
Gotcha.
Is that it? Oh, all right.
Yeah. So think Gangs of New York with Ghosts and Monsters, directed by Guy Ritchie in Old London.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
And actually, I made that reference, but I want to highlight one specific portion of this game that I really, really like. I think this is a staple with all Evil Hat games.
Wait, take it off your head first.
Blades in the Dark comes with what are called touchstones. Basically, just a list of references to kind of give you a mood board type sense of the world you're looking at and the characters that you're dealing with and things like that. And it's got references from TV shows, books, video games, films. It's even got a suggestion for a theme song, which you can just pull off of Spotify and listen to.
Oh.
Obviously, we're not using it, but
The one I made isn't good enough?
I probably prefer it.
Fine.
But yeah, just a really cool little reference that I wish more games did, just to give the player more of a sense of setting.
Why is Curly Sue on there?
Mostly because of Belushi.
Yeah, okay.
I consider Curly Sue an inspiration for any game I run.
Well, oh, the Blades.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
All right, so let's talk about your characters. Corey, who is your character?
So there's character types. I chose the Slide. A Slide is a subtle manipulator and spy.
Yeah, he is generally going to be the face of the party.
Oh, great.
The con man, the huckster.
Yeah, basically, his greatest strengths are in the resolve category. So command, consort, sway, stuff like that.
I like to call the Slide the Frank Stallone.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think of.
Yeah. There are special abilities in this game, and we got to choose one. Is that something that changes if we were to play this game over time? We get more special abilities as we level up and get experience and all that jazz?
Yeah, as you get
Okay.
experience, you can gain more special abilities.
Gotcha. Well, the one I chose is called Ghost Voice. I know the secret method to interact with a ghost or demon as if it was a normal human.
Yeah,
So I can talk to ghosts.
sure. And demons. That's important.
Yep. And my character's name is Roddy Woodthorpe, and we all have aliases. His is Tobean.
Corey, do you mean to say we all have nicknames?
No,
It's an alias.
alias.
His look is slippery. He's a noble. It's his background. He's Akarosi, which is the area we live in is...
Akaros.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You're probably from the city.
The hat he chose is a hammer.
Okay. All right.
No, that's not part of it. That's some canon we've created. That's stupid as shit. And we have like friends and nemesis kind of thing. There was another
Yeah.
game. Was that Cyberpunk Red or what was it? There was a similar
Cities
game.
Without Number.
Cities
I think
Without
we
Number.
we had contacts at least. I don't know if we had enemies, but we had at least a couple of contacts.
Right.
That sounds right.
There's a lot of equipment, stuff like that we kind of choose as a loadout, kind of like G.I. Joe, right? We can kind of choose it before a mission.
Sort of. So the way it works in this is you have a general items that can be part of your loadout that all criminals will have.
Okay.
And then you have specific things to the Slide. Now, the difference between Blades of the Dark and a lot of other games is you don't choose your loadout specifically before a score. What you do is you choose the kind, like light, medium, or heavy, I think the options are.
Yeah, you basically choose the type of load that you want to carry, meaning 3 items, 5 items, or 6 items.
Gotcha.
And throughout the course of the story, you just, at any point in time, if you need one of them, you notch that one off the list, keeping in mind that you can only do that 5 times. We don't have to requisition specific equipment at the beginning of a job. We basically say, I'm going to be this level of prepared, meaning I'm going to, take a normal loadout. And that means I get 5 chances to just mark pieces of equipment as I need them.
Okay.
And the difference is if you're carrying a light load, that means you basically look like a normal person. It's assumed that whatever you're carrying is concealed. Heavy is you're a commando about to breach a door.
You look like Schwarzenegger at the end of Commando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there might be some people turn their heads or run the other direction.
Oh no, it's the ghost of John Matrix.
Yeah. And medium, somewhere in between. Maybe you can pass yourself off as not being up to no good.
You've got a fanny pack or a messenger bag.
Yeah, it's a fanny pack full of a flame. It's a flamethrower.
But you're
Okay, but-
wearing it as a hat.
Oh, okay. I thought we were done with colostomy bags.
All right, Austin, tell us about your character.
Yeah, I'm the lurker named Moonlight Mitchum. So lurkers are stealthy infiltrators and burglars. He's the shady one. He comes from an academic background. He's a Skovlander. His look, he's got fancy clothes, but they're very ragged, and you can tell he's maintained them over time. And he's got one of those kind of bandolier harnesses that you can attach pouches and stuff to for various adventures. And his ability that comes from the Lurk playbook is the Devil's Footsteps, meaning when you push yourself, you can choose basically some amazing athletic abilities that help you on a job.
I say old Michael Phelps, he's got the devil's flippers.
It's true.
And that's what I think of.
All right.
Smokes that devil's cabbage too.
Yeah.
Criminal.
I didn't even know cabbage was illegal to smoke. Todd, what do you got over there on your character sheet playbook thingy?
My name is Uwe. I am a whisper,
Yeah.
an arcane adept, and my alias is the Haint.
So whispers are essentially what he said, sort of mini wizards, except they're not short necessarily, Corey.
Oh.
They can control ghosts with their mind.
I can force a ghost to bend to my will. I am from Tykeros. I am a denizen of the underworld, and I also have a chest twin named Nathan. He lives on my chest, much like your Kuato.
Wait, Quato's ours?
What kind of hat does Nathan have?
Nathan is not allowed hats.
Okay.
They chafe.
Yes.
My vice is the game of Uno. I think it is the greatest card game ever created in human history. And my purveyor of Uno is a spirit by the name of Salia, who possesses my chest twin Nathan so that we can play Uno together. Nathan refuses to play Uno. I have my own special deck of Uno cards, each one handcrafted out of balsa wood and featuring the likeness of comedic genius French Stewart.
That's cool.
What a deck.
Your character's basically Gladys Knight.
Yes.
What is happening?
Todd made a good point. Each of our,
When? Ever?
well, just in bringing up, each of our characters has a specific vice that we use to relieve stress
That's
throughout
true.
the game. So Todd's vice is ultimately classified as weird because
No.
he uses witchcraft to play with his Quato, and which sounds much more awful than I intended it to.
Yeah, you never want your parents to catch you doing that when you're young.
Also, my look is that of a mask-wearing sex freak from the movie Eyes Wide Shut. Except my mask is modeled after the visages of empty nest star Richard Mulligan.
Ah, yes.
So Mitchum's vice is gambling, and he likes to go to a place known as Sergeant Velk's Fighting Pits in Dunslough.
And Tobin's vice is luxury. He goes to a restaurant a lot.
Is it a ghost restaurant?
He's essentially fucking Orson Welles. He's just drunk and
Yeah.
Well, the difference between Toby and Orson Welles is Toby is very lower class and doesn't have a lot of money, which is why he's now an assassin, so he can support his cheesecake habit.
right. Yeah, the Golden Plum restaurant is where he hangs out. It is the cheesecake factory of this world.
Yeah.
Of course.
It is dark in Duskfall because it's always dark on account of they broke the sun along with the time that they broke the gates of death. Mistakes were made in the past.
And that's about 45 pages of lore summed up in one sentence.
Yeah.
It was November 2024. Donald Trump had been reelected.
Look, all I'm saying is the Akarosi Empire is not batting 1,000.
Yeah.
They've had some big misses. You are at a tavern called the Harping Monkey.
Okay.
It is in Night Market. You guys are in a private room on the 3rd floor. This tavern and eatery is just down the street from your crumbling manse where you have your aviary, because you are meeting one of your crew contacts, a sometimes employer, Lady Aramina. What is everyone drinking and eating before Lady Aramina arrives? Todd?
Kool-Aid.
Like jammers or
He has a bandolier of pouches.
Toe Beans having chicken.
Yeah?
Yep, got to stay on brand.
Yeah.
The drink?
Yeah, well, the drink is actually it's like one of those bourbon drinks that has like egg whites in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Frothy, out of a jammer pouch. Everything in this world is you have to puncture with a sharpened straw.
It's all prepackaged cocktails.
Oh yeah. I mean, the sharpened straw is a blade at the end
God,
of the day.
that's awful.
It is a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Oh, god damn.
Austin, what is Moonlight Monaghan Mulligan drinking?
Well, it's a Mitchum. Mitchum's having him an Irish car bomb.
So an Irish car bomb, you would have to drop the shot into a Guinness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there like, are you pouring into the straw? Is that?
Right, because everything's strawed.
I think you have to use there's a funnel that has a sharp pointy end. And
I see.
You punch it in one, and then you use the straw, and you pour one into the other.
Everything's a blade in the city is what we're saying.
Everything is blades and pouches.
So this room itself is oval shaped, and it has one of those doors that just seamlessly blends into the wall. It's not like it doesn't have an inset frame or anything. There are electroplasmic lights on the wall, this elaborate fresco on the ceiling. It's a very nice place. You guys can only afford to come here because Lady Aramina picks up the tab.
I'm picturing a Victorian setting, but anything illuminating or electric looks like that Kenneth Strickfaden mad scientist equipment from Frankenstein.
Yeah, there's nothing elegant or aesthetically pleasing about most of the technology. It's a little different here in this because this place is nice, but
So is this world, are there just ghosts flying around like fucking Hogwarts? Like,
No.
Okay.
no. Ghosts are not incredibly common in Duskwall because they have so many means by which to get rid of them. And there's a lot of people that is their whole job is keep ghosts out, prevent ghosts, take care of ghosts once they're in.
It used to be a cool job till they gender flipped it.
Yeah. What? I was going to say, it's kind of like dog attacks in a city. You know, they happen, but they're not that common.
Oh, okay.
Except the dogs are ghosts and they can come through walls.
Right.
And they're not dogs.
Right.
So different in every way. The door opens. Lady Ermina walks in. She is a short, plump woman with a very elegant, expensive dress, a valet, and a bodyguard. The bodyguard comes and stands inside. He's a hulking brute. You've never learned his name, but you've met him many times. The valet stays outside. She comes sit down. Gentlemen, the KFC.
So lovely to see you. I was just regaling my friends here of the time I spoke to the ghost of John Ritter, and he was telling me how the problem child was addicted to Vicodin.
Ah, yes, I love your strange tales, Uwe, of your distant land and its queer fellows. She sits down and orders some fizzy, expensive drink, and you guys chit-chat for a while.
Does the bodyguard puncture it for her?
Yeah. He just leans forward, stabs it with a straw knife. And she explains, obviously, she called you here because she wants to procure your services. She does not generally socialize with you.
Yes, we are most eager to work as our funds are quickly dwindling.
So she explains that she is interested in having removed a diplomat named Rasmus, based on Patreon member Rasmus Hammerland.
Thank you, Rasmus.
Thanks.
So here's what she tells you about Rasmus. He is a diplomat working for the Dagger Isles consulate. The Dagger Isles are...
God, even the islands are blades.
Yeah. Faraway island archipelago. They are nominally part of the Empire, and this consulate is here to try to expand economic opportunities between the city of Duskwall and the Dagger Isles. Rasmus is a trade liaison, or that is his official job. He's trying to broker some deals for exotic fruit importation, these strange fruits that they grow in the black jungles beneath strange stars. He is actually Tycherosi in origin.
So he has a Quato?
No. He has sapphire blue eyes that are literal gems. That is his Tycherosi trait, the strange trait.
Ooh.
Coppery skin and vibrant red hair. Fairly well-to-do man, and the Dagger Isles consulate is in Night Market. not terribly far from here, but one reason she picked you is that he lives in Silkshore, which she knows is your hunting ground.
Yeah, that's our main ground of operation.
Now, Silkshore, for those who haven't heard the Session Zero, kind of a lot of brothels and places like that, right? Kind of the red light district.
It is the red light district, yeah.
Except all the lights are daggers.
Frequented by a lot of the nobles from White Crown.
Yeah. There's lots of gambling dens and fancy parlors. It's the fun place everybody goes to hang out.
All the drugs come in pouches.
So I want Rasmus to disappear, ideally, accidentally. And you'll be paid well.
How much coin you thinking?
So she gives you a number that is essentially equivalent to 5 coin.
Great.
Doesn't seem like much, but coin is like westerns.
Yeah.
Here,
Coin is like a chest of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, a coin is the game mechanic term for a tidy sum of money. So promising them 5 coin would be a considerable amount. And obviously she would have given it in something like 50,000 Deutsche Bankermarks or something. Yeah. So she's offering to pay you 5 coin. If it is obviously a murder, that goes down to 3.
Okay.
You can buy a lot of cheesecake for that. We'll kill your man there, miss.
Excellent. I love KFC.
Yes, we will do this job for you. It is getting very difficult to afford Nathan's cottage cheese.
Gross.
Very well. Okay.
So is Nathan, he's just a head, right? Coming out of your chest?
Yes.
Okay. It's fucking so gross. It's going to give you heart problems, too.
So it's like a Voldemort on your chest.
Yeah.
Right.
He's sleeping now.
Do you guys have any questions for Lady Ermina before she goes? About the job.
Okay.
Let me specify.
All right.
You wouldn't happen to know anything about the entourage that travels around with Mr. Rasmus, would you?
I don't think he has an entourage.
Also, no personal security or anything of that nature?
He's a minor diplomat for a minor consulate. So mechanically, the Dagger Isles consulate is a tier 1 power, meaning it is very much on the lower end of the power scale among the factions of Duskfall. More powerful than your gang, which is tier 0.
Yeah.
But it is definitely not a real mover and shaker.
Yeah. Just to give the audience a brief primer, as far as tiers of various factions go, a tier kind of represents your prestige and standing amongst the other gangs in the city or amongst the other entities of the city. And that's also broken up into 2 levels of hold. You can have a weak hold or a strong hold on that specific tier of power, basically. We have a strong hold on tier 0 right now, which means that the next time we level up, we'll go up to tier 1.
And the most powerful faction in the game is tier 6. And I think there's only one tier 6 faction, and that is the Imperial Military.
Just for reference, our sheet only goes up to 4.
This diplomat sounds like he is a wild card. I'm interested to see if he is in fact a wild draw 4.
So tell me this, love. Does this bloke have any voices we should know about? Because we've all got some on our character sheets here.
Good call.
Yes.
She doesn't know. You may have to do some of your own intelligence gathering. She's
Okay.
told you everything she knows at this point.
Okay.
So she leaves, but that brings us to the next phase of the game. This game is broken up into phases, and right now we're in free play, which is kind of a more typical, what you think of as a typical role-playing game phase. But one thing you can do here, after you've obviously talked to your a friend, you have a score that is coming up, the assassination of Rasmus. One thing you can do is gather information, and this is specifically go out to do exactly what it sounds like, gather information. Now, you tell me what you are trying to get, and you guys can even invent specific facts that you want to find out. Like, Rasmus has lunch at this place.
Okay.
And we'll talk about, like, okay, how could you learn that? And then you choose an action, and if you roll well enough, then that could be some information you learn. If you don't, then that fact may be not what you thought it was. Now, obviously, there's some give and take here. You can't be like, Rasmus is a heavy sleeper, and he sleeps with the door unlocked, and he won't wake up even if you fall down and break all his fine china.
Right.
You know.
He has a sickness that makes him run with scissors all the time.
Yeah.
Blades.
Yeah, and now if there's things like I've established about the setting that I know, I could be like, well, let's, I could draw you back in. But
Well, I think it's a great idea to try and find out what his vice is.
Yeah.
yeah, and he's definitely gonna have a vice. This is Vice City. Oh, I mean Duskfall.
Okay.
So Lady Aramina leaves. You guys finish your drinks and your meal, and you depart. Head back to your aviary. Start making plans. What's your first step in gathering information about Rasmus, this diplomat for the Dagger Isles?
So Tobin's sly friend is Clyra, a tavern owner. To me, it stands to reason that she would talk to a lot of people in the city and have a lot of information about people because people be getting drunk and talking shit.
Where's her tavern at? You can choose.
Okay. Next door.
So, gotcha. So Night Market.
Yeah.
So we'll say that it's actually in the basement of the mansion, the crumbling mansion where your aviary is.
Oh, cool.
And it's the basement, and there's a sub basement that's always flooded. And this is a very low class establishment. You meet Clyra. She's behind tending bar. Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, I get you, Tobin.
Wait, so Clyra is a old prospector.
Nope.
Okay. Got it.
Young, early 20s woman,
The wiles of a lady.
attractive.
Hello, Clara, my love.
What do you want to drink?
I'll take a pouch of the bitters if you got one.
Yeah, she does. She gives you whatever you want to drink. She's your friend.
Tobin takes the pouch, throws it into the air, and hurls the straw at it. And it punctures perfectly.
Yeah.
Assassin.
So what information are you trying to specifically get from Clyra that she may have heard?
Well, I'm going to present it as just trying to get information. I think I know her pretty well, and I think she knows what our job is as the KFC to deliver fresh, mouth-watering chicken with every. No, I think she knows we're murderers.
Yeah.
Okay, and basically just ask about Rasmus in general and try to figure out if she knows his habits and perhaps his vice.
Well, I'm going to say, yeah, she could know that. And what I'm asking is, you tell me what you think his vice is, and we'll roll dice to see if you're right.
Okay.
Kyle, I'm going to make a question about general knowledge here.
Sure.
So everyone in the city is going to be at least a bit fluent in getting around, understanding the world around them. What do we generally know about the Dagger Isles?
Your character, you wouldn't know anything that you hadn't read in the newspaper. It's a tropical land. It's far from Akaros and the Imperial Heartland. It is a Imperial colony full of people thankful that they were conquered and brought into the light of civilization. Light in a general sense, because, again, this world has no real sun.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the vices listed on here are broke down into categories. There's faith, gambling, luxury, obligation, pleasure, stupor, and weird.
Yeah.
Can we say, and I'm not sure which one this would fall under, but he's really into acupuncture,
Yeah. Okay.
like addicted to it.
So,
Like if he's not getting poked, he ain't happy.
To me, that falls under luxury.
Yeah, okay.
so
okay.
he's like just a big old walking pouch.
Right.
Yeah. Like someone who constantly goes and gets collagen injections and acupuncture and
Right.
Roll. I think this is definitely consort. You're consorting with a friend or a contact.
Okay. Roddy has a 1 in consort. So I just roll 1d6, is that correct, Cole?
Yeah. You just roll 1d6.
And do we help at all? And does consorting with a friend provide any bonus dice or anything like that?
So you can help in a score. In gather information, I really wouldn't let you do it
It's just
unless
based
it
on
was
existing resources, really.
yeah, and unless it was something really exceptional.
Okay.
Okay, I'll roll my d6 then, as you've commanded. That's a 3.
So for a gather information roll, a 3 or 1, 2, or 3 would be limited. You get incomplete or partial information. More information gathering will be needed to get all the answers. So Clyra knows that this guy is into acupuncture, which is very common in the Dagger Isles, but she doesn't know his acupuncturist. And there's a number of places in the city that might provide those kinds of services.
All right. Well, then, fellas, I suggest we send the Lungers out to figure out which acupuncturist it is.
What's a longer?
So the Lungers are a small skulk gang that we have at our disposal. We call them the Lungers because their flaw is that they have asthma.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But their edge is that they are inconspicuous. So they're kind of ideally placed to just be able to skulk around and find information for us.
So a gang has a scale and quality. Obviously, their scale is 0, and their quality is always equal to your current crew tier. So it's your crew tier is 0. Now, if they do something relevant to their edge or flaw, that could get some conditions put on it. I'm going to say them skulking around and eavesdropping is a good way for them to learn about Rasmus.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that'll bump you up a tier for the roll, so you can just roll 1 die.
Okay.
And everything's a D6 in this game, right?
Everything is a D6. The only die in the game is a D6.
Well, I rolled a 1.
I'm glad Austin is rolling for the gang. Jesus.
So they follow Rasmus a couple times, and they don't these guys, sometimes their asthma slows them down.
Really?
Yeah. And they followed him from his home in Silk Shore.
They left their inhaler pouches at home.
Yeah. And they could tell you that his acupuncturist was not in Silk Shore, and they followed him through Crowsfoot, but they lost him in Six Towers. And they think it's somewhere there, but they don't know for sure.
What is Six Towers? What kind of part of town is that?
There's just
Six towers?
6 towers.
Okay.
There's no more buildings other than that. No.
So that is the district directly to the west of the night market.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's actually 13 towers, but it's like some 2 towers shit where it's
Yeah.
like, wait, which towers are they talking about?
So Six Towers used to be the most rich and lavish part of the city, but it has now fallen on harder times, and a lot of the buildings are just dilapidated and derelict. But obviously there are still functional businesses there, and people live there.
After those 2 towers got hit by dragons and went down.
Yeah.
I would like to attempt to gather some information, Kyle.
All right.
You said that Rasmus is Tycherosi.
He is.
So is Uwe.
What?
Yes.
I will reach out to my fellow Tycherosis and see if any of them are familiar with this Rasmus's habits.
Ah. Todd, where do a lot of Tycherosi hang out? We'll keep it limited to Silk Shore.
The Jammers Bar.
Okay.
Or in Six Towers, is it known as the Capri Sun?
Ooh. Lack thereof.
Uwe goes to the Jammers Bar in Silk Shore, which is Tycherosi. There's a Tycherosi doorman.
I picture this kind of like this world's equivalent of a tiki bar.
Yeah. Now, Todd, what is your weird trait as a Tycherosi?
Oh, it's my chest twin.
Oh, that's right.
It's Nathan.
So when you go to the barman, he looks you up and down, and with your clothes on, you look normal. And the doorman says, it's got to be Tycherosi to get in here, pal.
I unbutton my shirt.
Oh, my God! Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. He opens the door. Get in there, you freak.
That's another Tycherosi saying this.
Yeah.
What's his shit?
Get in there, you freak.
He has pointed ears.
Oh, okay.
And by the way, Nathan is still napping because I have not figured out what he sounds like yet.
Okay,
so.
got it.
Todd is the mutant with the shitty power in X-Men.
Right.
There are other Tycherosi who have eyes a different color.
Right.
Yeah. I'm Wolverine. I got claws. I'm Cyclops. Shoot a laser beam. I'm Bob. I have one spine that juts out of my ear.
It's fucking Cypher.
So I am going to use my consort to talk to my fellow Tycherosi and find out more about this Tycherosi diplomat named Rasmus.
Yeah, you work the crowd. You go from table to table over the course of the evening, buying drinks. Now, you don't have consort, so there's going to be a new, well, not a new mechanic, but a bit of a twist. If you can use any of the actions on your playbook in Blades in the Dark, even if you don't have dice in them. And since Todd doesn't have anything in consort, he rolls 2d6 and then he takes the lowest. So if he rolls 2 6s, that's great.
Fuck. I rolled a 6 and a 1.
Nice.
Can Nathan roll too? he just spits out some dice. By the way, one thing I do want to mention about this game, if you do plan on playing it, the dice are actually blades, and it hurts.
Yeah, we're using only the sharpest of the Norse Foundry dice tonight.
They're essentially the Lament configuration.
We have such blades to show you.
So you get bad news as you're talking to these Taikarosi. One of them tells you, yeah, they know Rasmus, and he goes to a place called the Grey Maiden. And this is a spa and sauna. There's acupuncture and mud baths and all sorts of fancy schmancy, treat yourselves type stuff. Unfortunately, you've heard of the Grey Maiden, and it is owned by a consortium of Leviathan hunters. So if you hit him here, and it's become known that you did it, that would hurt your faction status with the Leviathan hunters, which is already at -1.
That's another fun mechanic to this game. There's a bunch of factions, and as you progress, you can gain favor with them or lose favor with them and stuff like that. It was a similar thing was with Root that we played. Yeah.
Where Roots was with individual characters.
Roots?
Did I say Roots?
Kunta Kinte.
That's where I was going.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this is kind of just a representation of our standing with each of these gangs. And it's possible that we can get a lot of help from certain ones, or that we could go to war with certain ones.
And the Leviathan hunters, that's the faction that take battleships out to fight demon whales for their blood.
Cool.
And they're quite powerful and wealthy, and they already don't care for you that much. So this doesn't take the Grey Maiden off the table. It just means there could be some added consequences if you try to kill this guy at the Grey Maiden and you screw up.
Okay. Well, we don't necessarily need to kill him there, but we can maybe tail him from there.
Yeah.
I think we could take the risk anyway, because we only get paid 5 coin if we can manage to make it look like an accident anyway.
Well, we could find out if anybody else is looking to 9/11 around here. See if they could knock down the building he's walking past.
Got to get the timing just right there.
That's good. The plans.
A lot of people don't know the entirety of 9/11 was just to knock off this one dude who was walking by on the sidewalk. All right.
One specific guy.
They got him, but
His only crime was he owed Muhammad Atta $30 for
All the other Al Qaeda's planning the crime, and Otto's just thinking, yeah, I'm going to get Bruce.
Death to Dennis.
all right, everyone. We knocked down the tower right as he's walking by. But what if we miss him? Well, we'll hit the second one just in case.
So you have some information now. You probably do need more, but that does raise the question, do you want to make this look like an accident, or are you just going to go for the 3 coin and just murk this dude straight up?
I say we go for as much coin as possible.
Yeah. I love the hitman idea of trying to make this look like an accident.
Yeah, okay. So, next question, are you going to do it the Grey Maiden, or are you going to do it somewhere else?
somewhere else.
Yeah.
We know he goes to the Grey Maiden, so we at least know his location, and we can at least follow him somewhere.
Now, one key concept of Blades in the Dark is you don't have to scheme out everything to the utmost detail. What you need is a plan and a detail. The detail in this case could be tail him from the Grey Maiden and handle it there. And we assume that your characters have a plan.
Yeah.
That's elaborate and complex.
Right.
We just don't figure out what it is at the table.
Because for narrative purposes, we don't even exactly know where we're going to start within the score. There's a mechanic where you roll for your, is it position?
That's
Kyle?
engagement.
Engagement.
How the score starts.
Yeah, so there's a chance that we start already running from some gang member that has spotted us at the Grey Maiden or something like that, and that we're already having to improvise. So we just need to come up with kind of the basics of a plan and find whatever way we can to put it in motion depending on how we start.
Right. So I think the detail here is the Grey Maiden. We know he goes there frequently for acupuncture. It's in Six Towers, which unfortunately is not in your hunting ground, but you can still operate there. You just don't. You don't have as many advantages as you would.
Okay.
So the next is choosing the type of plan, and there are 6 plans, and some of these are going to be obviously completely disregarded. The first one, assault. I mean,
That's jumping him at the bar, which is a bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
which you don't want to do that because you're going to try to make it look an accident. You don't want transport because you're not carrying cargo or goods through danger. So your options are deception, stealth, occult, or social. This is probably not social because social is generally a negotiation or a
Right.
bargain. So you're probably looking at occult, which could be engaging a supernatural power, which could be a ghost or ghosts. Stealth seems like it might be the obvious choice, especially if you're going to quote unquote hitman this guy and have a piano fall on him.
I'm definitely leaning towards stealth because we're tailing the guy. So
Yeah.
we're sneaking around and kind of waiting for a good moment to murk him.
Yeah. And so stealth is trespass unseen, and the details the point of infiltration. I think if we zoom out, the trespass unseen is you're trespassing, essentially following him unseen, and the point of infiltration is picking him up as he leaves the Grey Maiden.
Okay. Just looking for a good time to do that.
Yeah. Now, so this is a public place, so let's talk about loadouts. So remember, we talked about light, normal, and heavy. Light is you're moving fast, and light. Normal is you look generally normal. If you're closely inspected, they're going to be like, hey, why do you have 4 guns? Heavy is you're obviously out to do no good.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to be stealthy, so theoretically, you could argue I'm going to heavy and I'm just going to stick to the shadows, but probably some of this stealth is going to be hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, are there any rules in place that prevent us from sort of changing tack as we adapt to situations? Like, if to me, this probably winds up being some sort of hybrid between stealth and deception.
No, you can have. So, for example, Todd at one point mentioned that he might want to have a ghost follow this guy, which would be a cult. You can do that on a stealth mission. It's really what the focus is. And the focus here is stealth. That doesn't mean it can't have occult or social connections. There might even be an assault if you needed it.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't all have to have the same load.
No, you don't.
Well, I'm kind of thinking we could try this. Tobin could go light here.
Oh, yeah. You're the face man. I
What-
think you need to go light.
Yeah, I think I follow him openly or just walking behind him openly. But one of the items I have is fine clothes and jewelry, which might put him more at ease of a guy who happens to be walking behind him, looks like a rich guy, because rich people don't kill people.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
pay somebody to do it.
Yeah, he's not going to pay as much attention to an obviously rich guy as he would a dirty hobo.
Right. So I'm walking behind him, keeping an eye on him, while the other two lurk in the shadows.
I will probably take a normal loadout just because I'll probably be the one prowling across rooftops and sneaking into vents and shit like that.
Right, that's your deal. Todd, what do you think?
I'm thinking normal.
Okay. The next part is the engagement roll. And as Austin alluded, this essentially starts us in media res in the score where things have either gone right or wrong. And the engagement starts always at 1 die for sheer luck. Who's going to roll the engagement roll?
You guys want me to roll?
No. I'll do it.
Cool.
All right. So Todd, take a 1d6. No. We build the engagement pool.
Oh,
So you start at 1 die.
gotcha.
Is this operation particularly bold or daring?
It's definitely not bold.
Yeah, I think it's pretty standard assassination.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is it overly complex or contingent on many factors? No,
I don't think so. We're just waiting to find a good place to kill him.
I would only argue that it does have a complicating factor in that we somehow have to make the elaborate ruse that it's an accident.
That's true.
Uh-huh.
Todd, take one of the die away.
Oh, no.
So you have 0 dice.
Okay.
Which means if that stays at that, you'll roll 2 die and you'll take the lowest.
Okay.
Never mind. I'm not going to speak anymore.
Thank you.
Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest?
I mean, that's the plan. We're looking for a good place to get him where he's alone and
Yeah, this is based around his
Vulnerable.
vice.
Yeah, I think he's vulnerable coming out of the acupuncturist. He's relaxed. He's not in his home turf. I think he's more vulnerable there. So, Todd, take a die. So
Thank
you're
you.
back to 1.
All right.
Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation?
I mean, they already have.
Yep.
They have, and Todd's planning on using more.
Yes.
So take a second die. Are any enemies or rivals interfering in the operation?
Not that we're aware of.
At this point, I'm going to say no. There are no rivals interfering. And are there any other elements that we might want to consider? Now, this is a higher tier target than you, so theoretically that could reduce your dice pool, but he's tier 1, and I'm going to say in this instance, it's not enough to make a difference.
Okay.
But is there anything else that would be obviously relevant to the engagement?
So there's a chance that this operation finds its way back to the night market, which is where our base of operation is. So I think it would stand to reason that we are going to be operating with a certain degree of fluency around our surroundings and things like that.
You could, and if it was starting in Night Market, I might agree with you, but it's starting in 6 towers, and we don't exactly know where it's going to go from
Okay.
there.
Okay.
So I think we're just going to be at 2 dice.
Okay.
And obviously you want a 6, and if barring that, 5 or 4 is good.
Okay. That's a 4 and a 1.
So you take the 4, you take the highest, which is a mixed result. You're in a risky position when the action starts, but it's not as bad as it could be.
Okay.
So just for general purposes, Kyle, do you want to tell everybody what the engagements can be?
Yeah, if you roll a 6, it's a good result. You're in a controlled position, which everything is going your way. Everything's coming up Millhouse. 4 or 5 is a mixed result, and then 1 or 3 is a bad result. You start in a desperate position. And a position is a mechanic when you're rolling your action roll. If you're in a desperate position, that means that the consequences are much worse for failure.
Okay.
So you got a 4, so it's a mixed result. Tobin is following Rasmus through the streets of Duskfall. It's dark, as of course it always is, lit by the glow of electroplasmic lights. You're working your way through 6 towers. This is the equivalent of what we would think of as the night cycle, meaning most people are off of work, restaurants are opening, bars are, of course, full to capacity. On the rooftops above, Mitchum is sprinting to keep pace, ducking behind chimneys, watching Rasmus. We don't yet know where Uwe is. One of the things is we don't have to know exactly where your characters are. They can kind of come into a score. You can essentially roll them in when it makes sense. You're following him over a bridge, not towards Silk Shore or Night Market, but into White Crown, which is where the richest of the rich live, the nobility, the well-to-do, where your reputation, perhaps, is not as great as it could be since you've assassinated many friends and relatives of the people that live here. And the Imperial military guards the bridges to White Crown. Rasmus shows his identification cards to these uniformed, well-armed soldiers on one of the bridges over the canals. He goes forward, and the first obstacle is you guys going to have to be getting into White Crown to finish following Rasmus and deal with him. But we will pick that up next week.
Okay.
All right.
I can feel Nathan beginning to stir.
That's alarming. So far, what do you guys think about Blades in the Dark?
Fun.
It's cool.
I like it.
Really like this very cinematically narrative structure a little bit. It kind of skips over all the boring planning the job steps, and it really just kind of lets us deal with, the third act reveals of the Ocean's 11 score, as it were. It lets us kind of just role play the most interesting scenes.
I like its simplicity.
Yep. Pretty fun.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I like it. It's one of my favorite systems. Probably top 10, for sure.
Cool.
If you're looking for a gift this year for your chest twin, why not get him some dice? NorseFoundry.com. Go there, and they've got just literally all different manner of dice and all different manner of materials. And when you choose your dice or your merch, when you're checking out, enter promo code CHAM, that's CHAM, and receive the Bastard Quest 10% discount. That's NorseFoundry.com.
Fuck yeah.
If you try really hard, the dice can be a hat.
True.
If you get enough, string them together, put them in a net.
I look really good in my dice tiara.
I've always thought so.
Thank you.
And we would like to thank our sponsor, Barrel and Bond, 100 Broadway Street in beautiful downtown Paducah, right there on the banks of the Ohio River.
The urinal is a knife.
There's been a lot of complaints.
Yeah. Well, just don't sit on it.
Hey, pour some bourbon on your head and call it a hat.
There we go.
But mostly we want to thank you, our listeners, and all our Patreon members. We do appreciate it.
God damn, thanks.
Thanks for listening. I'm Kyle.
I'm Todd.
Corey.
I'm Austin.